Okay, so Kati has asked us a question of how she has impacted the world through her spiritual awakening. And while she has no idea what we're about to say, this is what we wish to share with you all. No, Kati, this message is not for you. It is for the collective, and we hope that you share this because it is important that others understand how a spiritual awakening has a bigger ripple effect than a non-spiritual awakening, because you're now attached to the divine in a way where we guide your life instead of your own desires and intentions, if you will. It is now your soul who is driving the bus and not your ego. So here is what we can tell you, Kati. Your first another, we shall not name him, he has gone on his own journey because you, in essence, set him free. He is finally experiencing what he came here to experience, which we have shared with you and with him. So no need to express that to the world, as it is personal. Number 2, you have created new friendships, some of which are more intimate in nature, and you have materially altered their lives, and they don't even know it yet, depending upon the length of time since you were first intimate with them. Your imprint, as we have shared, is one that catalyzes change, and the intimacy creates an energetic imprint that, number 1, lasts for a lifetime, but number 2, carries your loving essence to create a ripple effect within these people that will be or is profound. You know what we mean. Will be in the future and is. It's both. And we cannot go into detail here because this is public, but what we can say, Kati, is that these people's lives will be forever impacted for the better because you have shown them what unconditional love looks and feels like. And this is something that these individuals have never, ever felt before. And it is not what we mean in the moment, but this is literally a DNA change that they will carry forever. And it will remind them of what is possible and what this feels and looks like. So there's a remembrance, let's just call it that. Okay, so now we're going to move to the populace at large. There are 2 factions. There are those with whom you have a more personal relationship, which can be in person or via technology, where they live far away. And those people with whom you have a personal connection, they feel your love and they feel your intimacy in the relationship with them because you allow yourself to be vulnerable. You express your pains, your difficulties, your real moments. You don't pretend to be perfect. And then, more importantly, you also show them where they shine, where their gifts are at, how they can improve their lives just by very simple, little nuanced changes within themselves, which then has a huge ripple effect out into the world. And then lastly, you're helping them to see themselves through new eyes, and that is really through their spiritual journey, that they came here to do something different and to a certain extent to step out of that victim mindset, which we all step into here in the physical form. It is the nature of the lesson. So You're learning to be authentically you. You no longer hide anything. You can be raunchy at times, and you can be holy at times, because that is what it is to be in the duality. You are a silly being who laughs at things, and what others might not find amusing, you do, and what others do find amusing, you might not. And you just let your stuff hang out now without a care as to how it is received. If others think that you're a prude at times, or that you're too slutty at times, well, that is their problem, because that's based on their own inner issues or worries. So now, then there is the overall impact with humanity. We'll start with those where your message has communicated with them at any point. And those people also are energetically changed. Now, we want to explain to you what we mean by the change. If somebody has, to a certain extent, never had a raindrop land on their forehead or their nose, right? And they're out and they just have one raindrop, it's something unusual and new, and they will remember that, but it does have a limited impact. But when you have somebody where it has rained consistently on them, on and off, and you give them a different perspective of what life can look like, and the rain is nourishing and nurturing, it creates a wetness which allows their garden and the soil to moisten. It allows their seed to germinate and then to sprout. So for some, if you're just a singular drop on their nose, it doesn't do anything other than make them aware. But for those where you have watered them more, you are helping their seeds to sprout. So does that make sense? And then there is the bigger ripple effect, which is where you have impacted the humanity collectively, right? Those people then go out and they are different in their own community and in their own circle of influence. And then your impact impacts them, which impacts others, which impacts others, and so forth and so on. So literally, Kati, you have impacted millions of people without ever realizing it, and you just simply coming into your full expression of you. And if we had to say, what people have you personally impacted, where their lives have materially changed, we would say in the hundreds, less than 1,000, but in the hundreds. And that's pretty darn good, given that you've only been doing this sharing for, a little over a year. So just continue your path, knowing that it makes your heart sing. And if some others receive some benefit from it, that's fantastic. And if they don't, it still makes your heart sing. And this is much better than what you had before. And therein lies the beauty of this. By you not caring who you impact, because you just are finding your own expression of self, you're finding a much greater impact for the better. You did have an impact on others before, but it was different because it came from a timid stance versus an authentically powerful stance. And the most important thing, Kati, is that as you move forward into what we call a divine experience, you will see how others follow you and join you. But when they follow you, it is not behind you. It will be alongside of you. And you guys will create this huge army, this wall, moving towards your goal, which is collective unity. And so you will be holding hands, coming together to that central point of cohesion where all is one. Our another is now feeling what this feels like. We are giving her a vision. So for the others out there, what we have shown our another is a vision. Picture people standing at the equator, if you will, assuming there's a landmass that goes around the entire globe. And they are standing united, where they are holding hands. And then they are moving towards a center point, which in this instance we'll call the North Pole. And as they come together, you would think, well, this is not possible, because they would crowd one another. But as they come together, they are literally becoming one and uniting to a singular point at the North Pole, creating one energy of unity, one energy of love, one energy of collaborative compassion, one energy. We are one, and we are moving towards that space of unity, of collective consciousness, where we all realize how interconnected and interdependent we are, not codependent any longer, where you have one male leader at the front leading the assault, but instead one large wall, no hierarchy, no patriarchy, simply one line of love moving across the globe, from the equator to the North Pole and from the equator to the South Pole, creating unity in the duality of humanity. And so it is. Namaste.